Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here, and thank you, Josh, and 425 Business. I want to thank my wife. So part of the thing being in business with your spouse is it's not easy to be in business. But it's great to be in business with your spouse, and we just had our third child 6 months ago. So she just left our baby and our other two kids and got here just in the nick of time. So thank you.
We're ready to rock. Let's talk about it.
So 4th Avenue Media. We are not on 4th Avenue Media. We never have, or not on 4th Avenue. We've never been on 4th Avenue, and I doubt we ever will be on 4th Avenue. The story goes like this. I was a senior at the University of Washington, and I had stopped dating for a while because I was really focused on dating. No, I was trying to focus on studies, and I saw this young lady on campus, and so I would try to meet her. And if you've been to the University of Washington, it's a big campus, so I tried to meet her all over the place, and I never got a chance to until my last quarter at college. And it happened to be in Kane Hall with 1,200 plus students, and we would have class 2 days a week. So I would try to sit by her every day that we had class. And the last day of class, I got 4 seats away, and I looked to the left, tried to get her attention. Never looked at me. But a year later, we ended up working at Como TV together for the show that used to be on for 20 plus years, Northwest Afternoon. And the very first time I meet her, I said, I think we had a class together. And she said, what class? I said, Geography 100. And she's like, there's like 1,200 students in that class. And that's why she's 1 out of 1,200 to me. So,
so sweet, right?
Thank you. No, but
we started UW Communication.
Yep.
We both wanted to go into broadcasting. I kind of joke around that I wanted to be Katie Kirk. That was my goal. And at the time, UW didn't have, and they just still don't have, I don't believe, broadcasting degree anymore. It was all, if you wanted to do that, you would go down to Wazoo. But Lucas and I both were interested in that. And then we met, as we said, at Como TV. Here we are, little young bucks, having fun. And we both wanted to go into broadcasting. And so we did that. And somehow, some way, it's so competitive. You have to get your foot in the door. You got to get that first job. You have to go to a small market and be willing to shoot, edit, carry your own equipment, do everything. It's not easy. It's not pretty. It's not glamorous in any way, shape, or form. But that is the way you start. And so here's a shot. Did I go? Okay. Of us, a couple shots of us while we were on air. We were in Tri-Cities, and then we wanted. The goal when you're in broadcasting is you want to jump markets. It's like a ladder. So you got to start at a small market, and then you're trying to get into a bigger market. And for example, number 1 being New York City, and then I don't even know the smallest market, somewhere in the middle of maybe Montana, where like 5 people watch or something. Anyway, and so then we got an opportunity to go down to San Antonio, Texas, which at the time was a huge market jump. And we were both on TV down there. I was on a TV show as a talent, and Lucas was in news. And as most people in broadcasting can attest to, it's very hard to schedule because you're working when people are home. So if the TV's on, that means people are home and you're at work. So when you first start as well, you're hoping that main anchor takes Christmas off because you would love to have the 5 o'clock news spot, even if it's on Christmas Day. And we were working completely opposite schedules, and it was very hard. I would get home, and he would. One time I was doing the 11 o'clock news. I get home around 12:30 in the morning, and he'd get up for the morning news around 2:30 in the morning. And if I was having a hard time winding down, I'd say good night. As he's getting up, he'd say good morning. And that's not the best type of life if you're trying to build a healthy marriage. Anyway, fast forwarding to wanting to come back to Seattle, we did that and wanted to start a family, and this is a little bit what our life looks like now.
And we came back to work at Como TV where we first met. And while we were home, we were working TV trying to figure out how we take reporter and journalism skill set and transfer it into the business world. And so we started 4th Avenue Media. And the whole premise of our mission of our company is to see inspired companies build deeper relationships with customers and employees, and really taking that ability to tell a story and apply it externally to the market, to your customer base, and inspire them to build that relationship with your or your company, but also your employees. I think what we've seen over the past almost 9 years in business is companies are really good at focusing at their external market growth, and they forget the people that are fulfilling those orders. And we say that the 5 questions that make up a story, who, what, when, where, why, who, what, when, where, are questions that engage the mind. They're facts and figure-based questions. And sadly, we've been reduced to a fact and figure-based society where the second question that you ask someone after you exchange names is, what do you do? And we don't really care what someone does, quite frankly. We care if we like them. Are they memorable? Can we build a relationship? And a relationship has 3 ingredients that are necessary to maintain a relationship. You have to know, like, and trust someone. And you can know someone and not like them. You can know and like them and not trust them. And you will never have a relationship with any person or brand or business unless you have all 3 ingredients. So we've been on a mission for the past 8+ years, helping companies to find that story and then build relationships.
And I think something that's set our company apart is because we came from the newsroom, both of us, there's things you learn in the newsroom that you wouldn't learn probably in your typical 9 to 5. So, for example, Lucas touched on this, but what is the so what? One of his bosses, you tell this story better than I do, but I can summarize it.
I like it.
Okay. Standing in front of a fire, doing a report, and he's live on TV, and he's like, I am standing in front of a fire. There are 5 people, whatever. And she came back, and she kind of beat him up a little bit with her words, and she said, so what? So what? You're standing in front of a fire, which is the whole thing. What we're doing with our company, I feel, is we're pushing it to the next level. So what? That's your message. So what? Why does it matter to people? How is that going to impact them? And also storytelling is such a big part of when you're in the newsroom, when you're in broadcasting. So I think we've been able to, with our clients, be able to tell their unique story, which is what reporters do, and get kind of to the undertones of what the story is, and then working under extremely tight deadlines, which helps for any small business, and having so much to do and wear so many hats and being responsible for it all. And that can be challenging, but I think because we do have the news background, it's been able to help us prepare for being small business owners.
And I think being spouses in business has certainly its challenges, as just being married has its challenges, but it also has its benefits. And I think one of the things that's nice about being in business with your spouse is you really want someone that you're married to be in the trenches with you, and no one's more in the trench than Lauren and I together. And it's been, it has not been easy. There's one thing that I was thinking about as a joke slightly, but if someone was asked me, I'm thinking about starting a business, what is your advice for me? I'd say just go back to bed and really rethink, do you want to go through this process? Because it's not easy. I think, especially coming from the media tells just the snapshot of stories and the success stories. But typically, look at all the construction. We love the sky rises, and we ignore the foundations that go down deep to hold those up. And the foundation takes a lot of time. And we've certainly had our foundation story.
Yeah, and I think as Jamie mentioned, it's the business to us is like a 4th child. And what it can be challenging is how do you not talk about it all the time? Every day it's evolving. Every day it has needs. It's living, it's breathing, and it has constant, like I said, it has constant needs. So how do we deal with that as a couple while we're trying to keep our personal life separate? And the thing is, we really can't separate it specifically. But I would say one thing I think that we've been able to do to make it work, and I know a lot of people wouldn't be able to work together that are married. First of all, we met while we were at work, and we became obviously best friends, and this rest is history. But I was going to say that I believe the biggest thing is staying in your lane. And I think, Jamie, you touched on this too. I don't know where you are. But I have strengths that aren't Lucas's strengths. He has strengths that aren't mine. And, for example, I love numbers. I love spreadsheets. I love math. I mean, I'm not really good at math, but that's why we have calculators and Excel spreadsheets, right? But anyway, and things like that. And I enjoy being around people and the details. Give me more. I want to be in the weeds. I live for that stuff. Like, give me that challenge. And Lucas is all about strategy and what is the overarching brand and messaging and affecting people greatly and relationship building. And so I think that one way we've been able to be successful is by staying in our own lanes.
And I had a friend in business who, he said, it's not about being the star, it's about being co-stars. And I think that's been one of the things that I would advise anyone, just in marriage, but also in business, is to be a co-star. And I think in order to do that, you have to be humble. You have to be willing to submit and listen. But I am a son of a football coach, and he always used to stick his hands up like this and go like this. And he said, tight like a fist. And what he meant by that is every single finger has its own individual role. The company, or the team in his instance, is the palm. And our job is to come together tight like a fist. And in a fist, your finger is indistinguishable. You actually don't know the role of it, but when you have your separate functions, it plays its role. And so I think it's important that everyone knows their role, stays in their lane, and then builds a better team, builds a better life when we're not competitive with one another.
And I just wanted to go through, we had a couple slides. I know we're probably almost out of time. We like to talk. Some behind-the-scenes stuff, consulting, video shoot.
I think one of the things, too, just going, and you don't have to click back on the slide, but we consult with companies all over the country. It was a hotel in Nashville. We were in Iowa a couple weeks ago shooting the largest processed turkey meat manufacturer in the country.
It's glamorous, I tell you.
It was real. But what I asked the business leadership, and if you're thinking about starting a business, I would ask you the same thing. And depending on your gender, role, title, it doesn't matter. I ask every single person this question. Is if you are in leadership of a business, if you're thinking about starting a business, what would you call, or what would you crawl? This is a tad graphic, but I want you to feel it. What would you crawl bloody-knuckled over a broken field of glass to accomplish? I want companies to really think through what are you really trying to set out to accomplish? Because until you can articulate that, which I think is the true why of your story, it's very difficult to inspire people to come in every single day, because we know dollars are not inspiring. They might be fun to get, but no one can be inspired long-term by just money. For instance, Amazon knows that well, that there's not enough money to keep people longer than 2 years. The average tenure is 2 years. So money is a byproduct of why we do what we do, but it's never a prime reason of why we do what we do.
So bringing back in that so what. And then we just wanted to briefly go over some lessons learned, and we'll briefly do it. Okay. This is probably 101, but we went to school for communications, trying to get into broadcast, so we didn't know this at first. Key is recurring revenue, not just one-off projects. So we've gotten a lot better at that the last 5 years or so. And then getting out of that vendor price shopping category, trying to bring to the client something that's unique, something that does inspire them, something that they're excited to work with us. I think that's been a big thing instead of just price comparison. And then getting the right team around you. It's been so important because we can only do so much, and there's only 24 hours in a day, obviously, and you can have this goal and want something so badly, but if you don't have the right people around you, there's no way we can accomplish it, even if we are working together ourselves. We still need those extra people and extra voices to be heard and really listen to what they have to say. So I would say that's it for us. Thank you, Josh, for having us.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.